Guys, what is up? We are live. This is Off the Growth. Yes, I changed my name from Off the Dome to Off the Growth because this one sounds more authentic, more personal, more Darcy. So, my name is Darcy. This is Off the Growth. Here we speak about growth. We speak about how to grow, whether that's in your mind, your body, your soul, any type of growth. I'm here for it. This is a chance for us to grow, to learn, to be better people, and to be authentic. You know, we grow the most when we are ourselves. So today's episode is about financial tips and financial tips once you're abroad. So as you know, right now I am in Fortaleza, Brazil. I got my Brazil, it's trending right now. Is everyone wants to go there 2026, and I'm happy for them. You guys, if you haven't been to Brazil, you should visit. Hey, you should visit. You don't got to know the language. I mean, you kind of got to know the language a little bit, but I love Brazil. I'm in Fortaleza, Brazil right now, so this is definitely a little off the path, not like Rio, Sao Paulo. But I enjoy it, man. I've been here for about 2 months, so we'll see how long I decide to stay here. Probably not long, but yeah, let's get straight into it, man. Financial tips for when you are going abroad, you want to live abroad long term. There's many hacks, tips that could save you a lot of time. And as someone who's been abroad for 4 or 5 years, I've learned some things on the way that are truly essential. So, first off, we're going to say background checks, fingerprints. It just will make sense. If you know you're going to be abroad, just do it in your hometown city. Get the background check, get the fingerprints, do the apostille there, and understand that apostille will take a long time. But I feel like it's less stressful if you do it in your home city. I did it in my home city. When I'm abroad, I just imagine the stress because you can't really trust post office, delivery service sometimes. If you got the money, if you got the money, bro, this is not for you. If you got the money, go ahead, DHL, 1 day shipping, you know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to go on a budget, sometimes it's going to take time, and when you're pressed for time, you only get 90 days or 180 days in the visa. You got to make sure you're using that wisely, and you don't want to be stressing about that in your 90 days, in your 180 days. You want to be relaxed. You want to be looking for an apartment. You want to be making friends. You want to be going out. You don't want to be stuck in the house trying to figure out, oh, I got to go here to get my fingerprints done. Oh, I got to go here to send it there. Oh, boom. Like, that's just... It's stressful and it's not worth it. So I really recommend you guys to do this before, and it will save you just stress. It might still be the same amount of time, but I promise you'll be less stressed. So this, if you don't know, this is for, visas. Work visa, there's your nomad visa. If you plan to stay long term, you're going to need fingerprints, you're going to need a background check, you're going to need to get an apostille translated. These things are they're a must. So that is extremely important. Okay, try to do it in your hometown. If you want to do it abroad, you gotta have a little bit of money. If not, it's gonna take a little bit more time, and it's just not worth it. Second, this is one of my favorite tips. Maybe people don't know, but you have transactional fees, right? Get a Charles Schwab account. That is probably my number one tip. Share that for last, but I love you guys. You don't need to be waiting. We need to just get it out as soon as possible. So getting a Charles Schwab account is essential. They don't have any transactional fees. They take the fees out when you get the money out, but they return the money to you at the end of the month. So boom, you get the money out, you say, oh, there's a transactional fee. Don't worry. They return the money at the end of the month. And this card is amazing. It's just a simple bank card. You go sign up, they give you your card, and then boom, it's a Visa, easy to use it everywhere. You can take out money, and it's awesome. So I really am grateful that I knew about this before I was abroad because I got it, and I have zero regrets. It's amazing when you want to even transfer money, and it's important. A lot of bank cards. Apple Pay. I don't know. I use Apple Pay, Huntington, but they have transactional fees, and you might not seem like nothing, but if you're living abroad for a long period of time, it just adds up, and it's just like, dang, that $10, bro, could have got me a little burger, could have got me a little, you know, something else, but I got pay these transactional fees. So the only thing I don't like about Charles Schwab, which really isn't that bad, but like they don't have like chat support, and like the only way to contact them is by calling them. So you kind of have to have like a phone plan with minutes, which I guess is possible, but for someone who uses WhatsApp so much, I really don't have like minutes. Like I just don't really call people. If I call them on WhatsApp. So I don't really use minutes enough to be like, oh, let me call you guys for 10 minutes, talk about this, talk about that. So yeah, that's only happened because, maybe I didn't tell them I was traveling, or they might have locked my account, but they only lock it for safety reasons. You just call, say, hey, unlock it, and they unlock it. So, but Charles Schwab account is very important. I would say that's probably the number one tip. You gotta have that. Next, I would say with the digital nomad visa, I think this is a great opportunity. Many countries have their own requirements, so each country is going to be different. But I think one thing people don't understand is you're going to be taxed in both countries. And this might sound awful. It still might be worth it, but I have friends who have done this. I have never worked for a digital nomad visa. The process is fairly easy. As long as you're making a certain amount of money, you will be able to get it for a year, renew it for a year. And this is why I tell you, like, the visa, the apostle, because imagine you come here and you don't have that stuff done yet. You're here for 90 days, you're working every day, you gotta figure that out. Like, it's just stressful. So I promise you it's better if you do it at home. But digital nomad visa, you will have to pay for taxes in the country you're in and back home. I don't know if it's because it's like a 1099. I'm not like a accountant. With my glasses at. I'm not an accountant. So I don't really know. I don't really know all those technical terms, but just know that this is what's gonna happen if you want to do it the right way. Many people, they finesse. I'm not here to say break the law. I'm here to say get it how you can, bro. You might get caught. Eventually, you probably get caught. But if you want to do it the right way, you have to pay taxes in both countries, and this is after you've been there for like 6 months, most countries. So that's a must. It's very necessary, and if you want to avoid that, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. You really can't. And I think people don't realize that, and then they get in trouble, and then they have to either pay a fine or leave the country. So that's the end thing. Like, you could get away with it and not pay the fine and stay legally, but it will really make it difficult for you to leave the country, come back easily, to maybe, like, I don't know, find housing, a new housing apartment, things like that. So they're not really strict on you paying the fine. Is more so like you'll be restricted to do certain things because you're not going to be able to do them, because they're going to look at your paperwork and they're going to see, oh, this expired. Oh, let's look you up. Oh, you have a fine. Oh, so it's not like as soon as you don't file your taxes, it's going to be like, hey, it's gonna go unnoticed, but it's gonna be more difficult to do things. So, like your bank account, if your cellular's expired and you can't renew your visa because you haven't paid a fine, that's a problem. So, paying taxes in both countries, is it worth it? I truly don't know. I have a friend right now who is doing that, and it seems like it's worth it, just because they are comfortable. They are in a place you know, of rest, of relax. So I think it's worth it in some cases. Don't be so scared about that. Understand it's normal. Obviously there's some restrictions. Obviously it's not gonna be so easy. You're not gonna be finessing so much. So yeah. Other the other tips. I don't even know. Another tip I would say is, once you first arrive, when you're abroad, you got all this money saved up. You're happy. You're like, I did it. I saved 10K. I saved 5K. You're gonna spend most of that in a month, in 2 months, and that's okay. I always tell people, when you move abroad, you're gonna spend the most money in the first or second month. You know, Unexpected purchases, things you didn't know you needed, things you need to buy to make you feel safe. You're gonna be stressed out the first month, second month, looking for an apartment, doing the visa work, getting used to the city. You're gonna be stressed. That's normal. It's a new environment, new energy, new people. So you're gonna make purchases, to feel better. Go to a nice restaurant, eat some good food, buy some comfort snacks, and all this is going to be happening while you're looking for your apartment. You're going to be buying furniture. You're going to be buying clothes maybe. So when I first was abroad, I had my little money. Oh, the cops, bro. Had my money, man. I spent most of it in the first month buying furniture, and it was my first time buying furniture. So I was like, I'm not buying no cheap furniture. Like I'm going all in. I'm going, yeah, leather. No, I can't. I didn't buy no leather couch, but like I made sure I bought furniture that I liked, furniture that made me feel happy, because this is my first time making it my home. So I was excited. I was grateful that I had the money to do it. So I was like, let's do it. Let me get a nice bed. Let me get some nice table, nice chairs, and so don't be afraid of spending your money, because we have to allow money to come into our lives. We have to allow money to come back tenfold. Money is always going to come back. Money is supposed to be spent. We cannot hold on to what we are supposed to let go of. All right. So money is, it's just money. I know you guys don't understand or might not like that, but I tell myself all the time, it's just money. Like it's just money. It's just paper. Like maybe I'm grateful enough to be in that position to say that, but I believe that is a true mindset you need to have with money. You can't just hold on to it. You chose this dream to be abroad. Make it worthwhile. Make it worth it. Do the things you want to do. Okay? And the rest of the little things aren't really that big of a difference. The right now the dollar is crashing. So for example, in Colombia, it used to be like 1.4, 1.5. Those are the good days. But now it's like 3.7. So take that into account. Sometimes your money, if it's in dollars, is gonna be good. It's gonna be bad. You gotta watch out for that. Um, does it make a difference? It does. Pizza, 20 more pesos. okay, cool. Now it's $7. So um, the only thing I would say about that is if the country you're in, their economy is doing good, you should be happy. You should be proud. You should be grateful because that means people in this country, they are improving their lives. The economy is booming. That's good for them. That's good for them because they get to go to United States and they get to actually enjoy it and not be stressed about money. So it's really like a double-edged sword. Obviously you want to finesse. I'll say you want to finesse the country. You do. That's why. That's why you want to. That's why I came to Colombia. Like, okay, I can use my money here. You want to finesse it, but if it's not like that forever, it's not like that forever, and that's it. So. And yeah, the last thing I'll say is the biggest difference between living in the United States is United States you have to have a car, you have to have car insurance, you have to pay it for the car, so you might have a car note, you gotta pay health insurance, and health insurance I would say is probably more expensive in the United States than in other countries. Um, my jobs, well, my last job I didn't have health insurance, and the job before that I had health insurance, and my job covered it, so that was nice. So I guess it depends. These big boy jobs in the U.S. maybe is a different thing. I really haven't had a big boy job yet, making 100K, things like that, but that's what the biggest difference is for me is transportation, not needing a car, using the bus, using the train, walking, Ubering sometimes. Like that transportation costs are going to be so much more lower in other countries that it makes it so much more worth it to go there, to live there. The thought of me going back to the United States to get a car insurance, car note, I'm like, oh my God, then I got to pay rent, the bills, groceries, phone bill not that much here either. Phone bill $10-15. You really just need to use WhatsApp, get some data. Unlimited data is so common now, it's really not that expensive. So yeah, those are some tips I want to say to you guys. Understand that there is no right path. Everyone's path is going to be unique. There's going to come different problems for each person, and you just have to trust and build a community, look for help, ask questions, and reach out to people, use Facebook groups, and understand that we are proud of you. If you made it outside, made it abroad, we are proud of you. This is only the beginning, and with these tips, hopefully you are able to make your stay longer, make it more effective, solve some problems I wish I knew, And yeah, not everyone has the answer. Not everyone knows the right answer. Some people are going to be wrong. Even people you are supposed to trust are going to be wrong, because the visa situation is always changing. Rules are always changing. So there's never going to be a definite answer most times. You look at lawyers, they always got different answers. Migration, they got different answers. They don't know what's going on. So, people, this is a unique time because we are in a moment of everyone is traveling abroad, going abroad, and, everyone's different. They got two nationalities. They got a job from this country. They got a job from that country. They've been here for 2 months. They got a kid. Their husband is from this country. All these different types of variables make each person's situation unique. So, don't be afraid if you fail. Don't be afraid if you make a mistake. It happens to all of us. We're all on this learning curve, and we're gonna get through it though. As long as you start to build community, help people out, expand, we are gonna be fine. All right. So here at Offthegrowth, this episode was about building your growth financially, having a growth mindset, being proactive, being prepared. And until next time, y'all, if you like this, comment, subscribe, let me know some other questions you have, and we can talk about it, So I'm out. Off the growth, we out.